Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Major Misconduct. I'm Scott Taylor. I'm the Major. That's Curt Keelback. He's the Misconduct. And for segment number 7,321, we're going to talk about the quarterback right now of the Indianapolis Colts, Peyton Manning, the brother of the Super Bowl champion New York Giants quarterback Eli Manning, and a guy who has been the premier quarterback in the league along with Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and over the last decade. Manning has put up gigantic numbers, but right now, 4 neck surgeries, we are told, not just 3, but 4 neck surgeries. There was some talk that he might play in December, decided that the risk was higher than the reward. He is going to play somewhere next year, but it looks more and more now like it's not going to be with the Indianapolis Colts.
No, there'd be no point in him playing for the Indianapolis Colts. Robert Irsay would have to pay him $28 million. And that team's
You are old, aren't you? Robert's dad.
Oh,
it's Jim Irsay.
Jim Irsay. Okay. All right, you're right.
Remember the great Robert Irsay story?
Yeah,
Robert Irsay cut a deal with Georgia Frontiere, who owned the Los Angeles Rams at the time, to trade Burt Jones to L.A. And Sports Illustrated wrote a piece that said, I don't know how that trade came about, because Georgia Frontiere doesn't get up until noon, and Robert Irsay is drunk by noon. Wonderful piece. But anyway, back to Jim Irsay, who basically said that Peyton ain't going to be back.
No. Why would he? And
they're not going to pay him $28 million.
He gets to save himself $28 million and spend it on some. Again, we're into that youth thing again. But
yeah, stop and think about
it.
Stop and think about this. If they paid Peyton all this talk about, well, you could have both, and Peyton could kind of bring the quarterback along. We know that's not going to happen. But you would have to pay Peyton $28 million, and you'd probably have to pay Andrew Luck $22 to $24 million.
So now you get $50 million.
$50 million for one guy who's going to sit in the bench. And not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. So obviously Peyton's got to go elsewhere.
Okay, so where do you think Peyton Manning's going to show up?
Well, I think you got to send him to a team that's kind of on the edge, very close, and just is that one quarterback away from having a shot at it. And a couple of teams come off the top of my head would be the Kansas City Chiefs and the Oakland Raiders.
Okay, Kansas City has Kyle Orton as its quarterback.
Yes.
Now, I'm one of these people who believes that Kyle Orton has all of the tools to be a good NFL quarterback, but for some reason can't win. He just is not a winner.
Oakland has not the toolbox? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that at all. There are certain players in sport that are tremendous players, but winning eludes them. Phillip Rivers may be on that list. Carson Palmer, who's in Oakland right now, is on that list. All the tools, looks like he's going to be a great player, just can't win enough football games. I guess my question is this. If you're Kansas City and you're Oakland, do you think that Carson Palmer or Kyle Orton are your guy? And if you do, then I guess you're out of the Manning sweepstakes. But if you don't, Manning would be a great fit on both.
Yeah, he'd be a good fit on either one. And in particular, if you watch the Oakland Raiders, they're constantly taking dumb penalties. They get themselves in more trouble because of a lack of discipline. You got Peyton Manning telling you, hey guys, that might be what you need to change things around. And they're a club that's proven they can beat anybody at any time. You can go to San Diego, that sort of thing, and they can win a pretty important football game. In Kansas City, remember the start they had a couple of years ago? Last year they started slow, and then we saw a little bit of what they can do. So those are a couple of teams that come to mind immediately that may be one great quarterback away from being able to upset the apple cart.
Okay, I'm going to throw another 2 out at you.
Good.
One for the same reason we're talking about, and another because they don't have a quarterback really at all. Dallas Cowboys. All the money in the world. Peyton Manning would be a huge superstar in Dallas, and Tony Romo can't win. Number 2, the Miami Dolphins. Again, great place to play football, tremendous place to live. Your quarterback right now is Matt Moore. He's not the answer. Would Manning fit in Dallas or Miami?
Manning in Dallas is an interesting idea because Dallas gets a lot of attention. You'd have the opportunity to see an awful lot of them. Certainly with Jerry Jones, he's not hesitant to go top drawer, spend the big buck, even if he does put himself a little bit over the limit. He'd be willing to bite anything to win in there. So I think of the two you mentioned, the more likely would probably be Dallas, although Miami's, just a quart short too.
Here's the reason I don't think he'll end up with the New York Jets. There's been talk about that because people are not satisfied with Mark Sanchez. He won't go to New York because it's cold. Not going to play November and December in New York at his age with his injuries.
It's good enough for his brother, not good enough for him?
Eli's younger and in better shape. Peyton needs to play indoors or in the South.
Be a natural, wouldn't it? Manning versus Manning, New York versus New York.
Wouldn't it be spectacular?
Be great.
Yeah, it would be. We'll come back. We're going to talk about the NHL trade deadline. Lots going on and more than just the Winnipeg Jets when we come back with another segment of Major Misconduct.